All right, we got a packed one here today, guys. So this is going to cover a lot of different topics. Some of the topics are just going to be a preliminary walkthrough, and a more in-depth video will be coming later. But we wanted to touch on everything so that everybody had all of the information at their disposal to make their best decisions moving forward. All right, so upcoming videos, the GTX browser and wallet that's ready for beta launch. That video will be coming out here shortly. Oracles and voting NFTs and gNOTE. I do go over that a bit in this video just because it's going to help you to make your decisions going forward, but there will be a more in-depth video coming out as well. G-Twins, G-Apps, G-World. That video is waiting on my approval. It was put together by one of our creative design members, and that should be out shortly as well. All right, so zero-day complications. Some of you know, some of you don't. We had a 0 day recently, and there was some complications during that 0 day. The first one I'll mention here is that there was poor liquidity in the gNOTE T-bill LP. So there was some complications with huge slippage and so on, which is a result of low liquidity. There was also poor RPC throughput. That's MetaMask transaction volume. We'll go into that a little bit here next. So what we were faced with the RPC issue was that Theta Labs serves a public RPC. If this is all mumbo jumbo to you, it's just simplistic terms is that this is the way that you broadcast a transaction to the network with your MetaMask wallet. As you can see, the team, here's a message from Wes. The Theta Labs team is diligently working on this. It's been a long few months saga of them testing and looking for the best solution moving forward. I look forward to them making their announcement here soon of their path forward that they've chosen. The RPC, what it affected was, and what it does affect is the blockchain data stream that we were using for IL. So there was a lot of people that were seeing, complications in the IL tracking, and that had a little bit to do with the RPC node that we use to confirm. We host our own data stream, but we always like to take a third-party look at all the data stream, and we utilize Theta Labs for that third-party verification. Soon we're going to have our own RPC up. The complications with having our own RPC up and strictly using that one is when you guys go to cast your votes, if we're the middleman between counting the votes that you've cast, we just would prefer to have more than just our RPC up so that third-party RPCs can be utilized for things like voting and such. We don't want to be the ones that are holding the vote and counting the vote, at the same time. It can very well happen and it would be okay. It's just, I think it's best that there is that third-party verification. Now, on 0 day, the RPC, we knew that there was complications with the RPC, but we had no idea that it was down to one transaction a minute being an overload, so to say. So what this means is that we were doing 10 wallet issues every 10 minutes. So we felt that a full minute per wallet was plenty of time. We noticed soon off that it was becoming problematic, and if you were all there, we then finally made the decision just to pause the whole darn thing, and now here we are with the path forward. Also want to make mention that Theta Labs is also trying to solve their seed node issue. So the seed node is almost like the RPC. So the RPC is how you communicate and broadcast transactions to the network using like your MetaMask. Now the seed nodes, the problem is that edge nodes, some of our edge nodes have been getting banned. And that's basically what happens with the RPCs, so you can see the failure. So why there's constraints on this is because there's sometimes malicious actors on the network that spam the network with multiple calls trying to overload the RPC nodes and the seed nodes. So Theta Labs needs to put a protection up for this. And it just so happens that the protection that we have up there right now is a bit too aggressive, and it's banning people who aren't maliciously acting on the network or seed nodes. So there are quite a few times where our edge node under normal conditions would get banned from the seed nodes, and then it can't restart and it can't connect to the network, and you guys are seeing missed edge node rewards. We are tracking the missed edge nodes. That's going to have to come out of our pocket. It's not something that we make extra of, and we're monitoring the situation. I'm not saying that it's hugely problematic at this point. I'm hoping that the seed node solution comes out at any point, but it is a bit of a hindrance on us to have to cover these rewards that we're not making because we're not allowed back on the network because the network thinks that we're too aggressive when we're just under normal activity. So I hope that this has been made clear. I don't want to dwell on this too long. We got a lot of material to get over. If you need a little bit of clarification, come see us in Discord. All right. So I've boiled down quite a bit of what we're moving forward to this paragraph here. And so what you can do here is there's going to be a lot of text on the screen for some of this. You can pause it if you need to read it through it. But I'm going to go over the gist of what some of this stuff, or what the paragraphs or the text is referring to, rather than sitting here reading it word for word. But this one, so let me go into this here. So there were some people that left the LP with more of the T-fuel reserve than they were entitled to. Now these underlined words I'm going to go into depth on as we move forward. So more than they were entitled to. And so some people now have less T-fuel. So we have come to realize the extent of this after our initial blockchain analysis. And we have concluded that we need an overhaul of the LP. Now, this was while we were doing our analysis of all of this IL and the path forward. So we are pausing the T-bill contract. So as I hit publish on this video, we are going to be pausing the T-bill contract. I'll go over all of this further in detail. And we're laying out the path forward to make sure everyone ends up with at least the amount of T-fuel that they entered the LP plus an 8% annualized. I'll go over what all of this means. So, okay. So what does some people left the LP with more than they were entitled to mean? So over 1,000, it looks like right now, we're still doing preliminary, but as of right now, over 1,000 wallets took more T-fuel than entitled. What we mean by entitled is the initial T-fuel they came in with plus the rewards equals entitled. Now, this has nothing to do with rewards or multipliers. This is, as you can see in the charts, you can see where there are people that were holding on to part of the reserve because it's a distributed reserve, and they exited with not only their initial and the rewards, but they exited with some of the reserve. So here's an example. Here's an image of how you can visualize this. This is the LP. As more T-fuel goes in, everybody's wallet holds onto a little bit of that reserve. That reserve was GPooL adding T-fuel into the reserve for rewards. It was part of the burn. It was newcomers to the LP. Anytime that T-fuel was entered, everybody got a piece of the reserve. So no matter how much T-fuel GPooL would add right now, it would go to some people that are holding more of the reserve and are either confused or misled to not understand that they are part of the whole project. So distributed nature of blockchain. So let's go into this. Why was the reserve distributed to, in the hands of the community? Well, how blockchain works is that you distribute so that you can have the community participate, and you reward people for being good actors. Bitcoin distributes the mining, and it rewards people with all that computing power with block rewards. So in blockchain, the goal is to distribute and to reward people to be good actors more than being bad actors. Well, it seems that there was a bit of confusion around all of this. So how was good custodianship rewarded? And that was that you were paid rewards on the whole amount that you held, including the reserve. So why was the impact of this so minimal? And the impact of this was so minimal because GPooL had so much extra T-fuel in there for rewards, and that we burnt, and, in the Friday 50s and everything like that, and the burns. So there was a huge amount of extra T-fuel in there, but still through miscommunication or misunderstanding, it was still pulled out and depleted into a sense. So was this an attack? Was this attack done on purpose, basically? We're not here to speculate on that. We're here just to get the path moving forward. We know that there was misinformation, confusion. So we're just looking forward and moving forward. And that's for someone else to decide. So we're pausing the T-bill contract. Yes, we have to pause the T-bill contract because we have to be able to do our analysis. Okay. So what we're doing is we're pausing the T-bill contract and we're leaving open T-fuel withdrawals. So you can go and withdraw your T-fuel from the LP until February 21st. I know that's only a few days. I would really encourage everyone to watch till the end, because once you withdraw, you can't put it back in. So I would get all of the information and what that means moving forward before you go ahead and do it. You've got a few days to go ahead and do it, but we need everything paused so that we can then go through and do a complete blockchain analysis. So there is still a lot of T-fuel in the LP that is part of the reserve. So please do proper accounting and only withdraw what you are entitled to. There's example of we get many of emails from people that think they lost large amounts of T-fuel. We go through, we do audits, we give them links, we give everything, a fair shot. We have yet to see somebody come to us with, oh, this is wrong compared to what data we put out there. But it's accounting. People don't keep track of things, and there's a long time. A year is a long time to keep track of things. But anyhow, we do this, and then all of a sudden we find that they have a positive 1 million T-fuel. So there's going to be a way for you to be able to see If you are indeed someone who took extra, if you feel the need to, want to return that, we'll have a donation address for you to send it back. We don't have high hopes on that. Not saying that there wasn't confusion, but if there was confusion and somebody sold it, we don't need you, feeling like you've done something horrible here. If you were confused, you're confused. So, all right, we're going to lay out the path forward from here. So we're going to lay out the path forward for TBill LP, the path forward for IL, and the path forward for gNOTE. All right, so TBill LP. How do we go about not having, unfortunately, to trust the community with the distributed reserve? Please, I hope you guys all understand, it's not that we don't think we can trust you. I just think that there was a lot of confusion and misinformation. So Rebase 1.1 will help that, because even the lay of person with blockchain won't have to understand some of these heavily complex things that we're finding are more complex than we thought. So Rebase 1.1, it's simple. The T-fuel that's swapped into TBill is done so through a T-fuel reserve. And that portion, basically how it's done is it's done by burning LP tokens. So as people move in, they end up having this T-fuel reserve so that it's there for when they go to move out. And the whole LP owns it because the LP tokens is burnt. So I will go more in depth into that as it comes time. So Rebase 2.0 is the full path forward. So that 2.0 will be audited. And what we might do is we might have it so where it includes the meta chain integration at launch. We're still working out what we're going to launch it, what elements we're launching with and with not, but I just wanted to make mention of that. So the new TBill LP will not be deployed until the audit is complete, until all of the IL has been issued. So all the rest of this video and the IL and issuing it, we want to make sure that everyone has their T-fuel, and then we're all ready to stand up the Rebase 2.0. And it's also going to be put to a vote with a majority yes. And all of the TBill NFTs that you all have right now, they will work with the new 2.0 LP. All right, so what do we mean by what you put into the LP plus 8% annualized, right? So that means that every wallet that entered the LP over the complete history of the LP will have their IL reflect T-fuel in plus 8% annualized minus their T-fuel out equals what their IL is. All right, I know it's got brackets and it's math, but let's just work through this, and I think you're going to see it's quite simple. Okay, so what does this mean here? So you moved in some T-fuel. Now 8%, that's going to simulate if you would have had that T-fuel in an edge node. And annualized means you get 8% if you were in for the whole year, just like if you were in an edge node for a whole year. T-fuel out, what you withdrawn from the LP. So let's go through this example. Someone moved 100 T-fuel into the LP and was in the LP for a year. Okay, so a year annualized, they're entitled 8% because they've been in for a whole year. Then in total, they removed 90 T-fuel from the LP. Now, there could be a lot of things that happened in this whole year, but it boils down to basic, simple, what you moved in, what you removed, and an 8% annualized reward. So 100 T fuel in plus 1 year of 8% equals 108 T fuel. So 108 T fuel minus the 90 that you removed equals 18 T fuel of IL that you'll have. So you can put in all of the math to work out yours, but we're going to have all that math there for you when it becomes time for you to choose which direction you're going to go and what you're going to pick, just like the last IL choosing tree, the different options that you had. So let's do one more example here. I know there's going to be a lot of people, if this, if that. So someone moved 100 T fuel into the LP and was in for a year. So same person, he's in for a year, sort of. Then in total removed 110 T fuel from the LP. You have 100 T fuel in plus 1 year of 8% equals 8 T fuel minus 108 T fuel minus 110 T fuel. Got an extra 2 T fuel. No IL. Another example. Someone moved 100 T fuel into the LP and was in for a year and then removed 108. So that works out to them breaking even. You can pause it and take a look through and see the math and the examples for yourself. If you need any more help with the math and understanding, you're going to see what your wallet did, and then you can come and potentially ask us, in Discord or an email, whatever you need. Okay. What does everyone in the LP mean? And I'm okay. It means everyone, as in everyone. Now I know that there's a lot of if this, if that. So we're going to go through them. Does it mean people with 0% high watermark? Yes. This means people with 0 high watermark. We're going to look at every wallet to have touched the LP and what they've gotten back out in T fuel, and we're going to make that as IL. Now, the people that at the time of pausing have their high water mark in the appropriate ranges are going to get an NFT. We're minting it. It's non-transferable. It's not coming in the next hour and a half, okay? But we want everyone to understand that if you had your 100% still in the LP or your 98% still in the LP, we're going to reward you with an NFT. That NFT doesn't have anything earmarked for it right now. We're kicking around a few ideas back here. We just want everyone to understand that this NFT is going to mark that you were at your 100% watermark, and that we are planning something for that NFT to make sure that people who held their 100% and didn't accidentally or confusingly or what have you pull out of the LP, we're making acknowledgement of that with an NFT. So I understand everyone's going to want to know what that NFT gets them. Give us some time. I promise that it's going to be something that will make you happy. Well, I try to make everyone happy, and sometimes I don't make everybody, but majority of you will be happy, I guess. Does it mean people that missed the price window when selling their 0-day gNOTE? Now, this is a big one, guys. The 0-day that we just had got messy, and there's people sitting there with with their gNOTE, and some moved into T-bills, some didn't, some got, a portion of their T fuel. Wipe all that stuff out the window. Just wipe it. Well, throw it out the window. Well, don't throw. You know what I mean. Wipe the slate clean. Okay. We're going to be looking at your T fuel in minus your T fuel out plus your 8% annualized. It's simple. I know it sounds simple. There's a lot of math involved in it, a lot of tracking. We have a lot of that, already factored, but we need to be able to do the complete deep dive when everything's paused. So, with that being said, this also potentially means people who miss their price window on the first 0 day. Yes, even those individuals that got their gNOTE back in July, didn't understand, and they missed their window. That's because we're looking at your T-fuel in minus your T-fuel out annualized. So we don't have a bunch of other things being convoluted. So if back the first 0 day, you got 2 or 3% less than what you were supposed to, or what have you, these will be decisions that you'll be able to make. If you want to hold on to that gNOTE, we'll be getting to that as we move forward here. Okay. Oh, I already covered that. Yes, it means both 0 day windows. All right. What if you did a bunch of trading with T-bill and gNOTE? Yes. Simple. T-fuel in, T-fuel out. What if you just bought T-bill and you didn't even touch the LP? I know I said touch the LP, but you had to touch the LP to get that T-bill. You had to trade it through, or you traded someone for it. Regardless, that T-bill issued had the T-fuel backing it in the LP. So if you're just sitting, the term is naked T-bill or raw T-bill, yes, you will potentially have IL once the numbers are processed, and you'll be able to come and take a look at that. All right. So, as these slides progress, there will be some people that choose not to withdraw their T-fuel from the LP. It'll make more sense as we get through all of that, but what if I do not withdraw any of my current T-fuel from the LP? Okay. Now, let's go through the math. Someone moved 100 T-fuel into the LP for a year. I know, redundant, but it makes the math easy when it's redundant like this. They have left 50 T-fuel in the LP right now. So, all the contracts are paused except for withdrawing T-fuel from the LP. All right? It is open. You can go and withdraw right now. But if you choose not to, or you miss the window, we'll get into all that. But if you choose to leave that 50 in the LP right now, here's the math. However, in all the LP's history, they only removed 40. So you've got 50 in there now. Christmas time you withdrew 40, or, I don't know, birthday party, I don't know, something. Okay. If they choose to leave that 50 behind, it will be added to their IL. So let's look at the math. 100 T-fuel in plus the 1% year annualized, I didn't put it there, but annualized, equals 108 T-fuel. 108 T-fuel minus the 40 that they removed during their birthday, Christmas, whatever, equals 68 T-fuel of IL. That's because the 50 they still left behind, and they increased what their IL is by not withdrawing that 50. All right. Does GPooL have IL? Yes. We have an ungodly amount of IL. And we have so because we've let everybody withdraw. We've burnt. We had a bunch in there for rewards. All sorts of reasons why our IL is huge. Are we going to claim any of it? No. We aren't going to claim any of our IL. Okay? First off, we want to make sure that everybody else is the one that's able to get their IL before we were to ever consider it. But we're not considering it. We're not doing it. We're letting you all have the T fuel that's left in the LP and so on and so forth. We'll get into all of that. All right. Now this extra 8%, it's going to be paid after everyone's initial IL is paid. Okay? So for some of you people with less IL than the rest of everyone, please be patient. You'll get your 8%, but it's only fair that everyone gets their initial IL before extra is given. Now, there is one caveat to that, and we'll get to that here in a sec. All right. So from now until February 1st at 12 p.m. Eastern, I know, not a whole crazy amount of time, but we need time to do our deep dive, and then we're going to give you guys time, ample time to make your decision. So the thing is that the longer that we give time for each of these steps, the longer the whole process is going to take. So everyone that wants to withdraw their T fuel from the LP can do so. If you do not want to withdraw your T fuel, that amount will be used in your IL calculation. All right, and then I give examples. So someone who's out of town or can't get to their wallet. It could also be someone that wants more gNOTE. We haven't got to that part yet, but it'll make sense here in a second. So they leave that amount of T fuel in the LP, which will increase their IL numbers, which increases their gNOTE amount due. We're getting there. All right. Please take the time to do proper accounting. Look at what you moved in. Look at your rewards. You know, there's still people that have access to that reserve that's over and above their T fuel in, their 50% rewards, and they've got extra sitting there. So please just leave it behind so that we can issue it to others. Keep in mind, the more you take from the reserve, the more us, GPooL, will have to cover. So if you got your initial and your 50% rewards, can you just call that good enough here? All right. Keep in mind, IL. Okay. Keep in mind, IL is not T fuel that you gave to GPooL. Okay. GPooL, we've given the community a crap ton of T fuel over and above. We're in the negative by a good margin. So just keep that in mind. It was taken from the LP. We are standing up to do the right thing for the community by covering the T fuel taken from the LP. And we're covering it out of our own pocket. All right. From now until February 1st, 12 p.m. Eastern, withdraw your T fuel from the LP. Now, as you know, that I've said that there's an element to that with gNOTE, so I would encourage you to go through the whole video because, like I said, this will sort of be your last chance, and we'll get there. So, on February 1st, all the remaining T fuel in the LP will be swapped to the T-Bill Reward wallet. That's a wallet public out there already. We'll be able to give you guys all the link. You guys can all watch it. This will be done on the public blockchain using minted T-Bill. Everyone can watch and track all of this for themselves. It will sit in that wallet ready for IL distribution, which also will be public and you can track on the blockchain. So February 21st through the 26th, my team will be busy, Red Bulls in hand, tracking everything. I mean, it's not giving us a whole heck of a lot of time, but we wanted to make sure that everybody could get their IL started sooner than later, with ample amount of time, and that we wanted to make sure that people had some time to withdraw the T fuel out of the LP. So it's a catch-22, giving people enough time so that they don't come back and say, I missed it, and then getting people it as fast as they want it. So we have to fall in the middle of it. So We will be doing our darndest over that 5-day stretch to use every second of every day so that we can get everything audited and ready for you guys so that you can come through and click on your decisions, which start February 27th to March 12th, 12 p.m. Eastern. All right. So the IL page will be made live for everyone to choose from a long list of options. So there will be a guide that lays this out, of your options, as well as we're planning on making a video to go through all the different options, the different trees. This IL, partial gNOTE, no IL with gNOTE. I have, all of the different, all the different scenarios. All right. So on March 13th, the first T-Fuel distribution will happen for all of those who choose T-Fuel for IL. So as you can see, you're going to be able to have a choice between T-Fuel or gNOTE, and this is going to be in the following section here coming. Okay. Depending how many people pick T-Fuel, this may be the first of many 2-week distributions. We will do them on every other Monday by 8 p.m. Eastern. The first one's March 13th, then March 27th, then April 10th if we have to go out further, so on. As GPooL and GWorld generates more T-Fuel, it will keep going out until everyone has their IL plus their 8% annualized, should be annualized 8%. Okay. Now, this is where the little caveat to the 8% comes from. For those who choose gNOTE, you will get all of your IL on March 13th in completion. This will include your 8% as well, as this will be the last day gNOTE will ever be minted again. All right. So, if you pick gNOTE, we have to give it all to you on the 13th. I know everyone wants the fair world, all this other, hoopla, but we have to. This will be the last time that gNOTE is minted, and you'll see why going forward, as it plays a lot of dynamics into everything. This will include your 8% as well. Why? Because it's the last day that we're ever minting gNOTE ever. So we'll get into all of that as we go forward. Now, some of you might have seen the MetaMask tab on GPooL, but you'll go over to MetaMask and you'll be able to connect your MetaMask wallet and you'll be able to see your IL. This is where you'll be able to select all of your options. This is where the distribution tracking will all go. This is where you'll be able to see everything. So from this point forward, you'll go and you'll track your IL until we have everybody made whole, and then everybody will be connecting back to the staking page with T-Bill 2.0. All right, IL options. This is just a quick little overview. Obviously, we'll have a little bit more in depth of what your options are going to be. All right, so if you select T-Fuel, your IL will come from the remaining T-Fuel in the LP. It'll come from GPooL staking commissions, from our NFT trade commissions, up to 90% of NFT proceeds, and it's going to be distributed every 2 weeks, and the tracking is going to be done on the GPooL site. Also visible on the blockchain. The GPooL site is just showing what's on the blockchain in a nice, easy to view way. Okay. So you select gNOTE, and yes, you'll be able to do proportions. I want, 10% T-Fuel, 90%, gNOTE. We know there's a lot of people that like their options, a lot of different options. So we'll go over all that in another video. So we, at the time of making this here, the 2 week time weighted market price is 1 gNOTE equals 1.1088 T fuel. So this is the price that we're going to go with. Everything's going to be paused here. So we did a 2-week time-weighted average of the market. And this is going to be the ratio. So 1 gNOTE equals 1.1 T fuel. Now, let's say that you have no IL, but you own gNOTE. You're going to have options to keep your gNOTE, how you want it to do your gNOTE. But if you have no IL, the T fuel will not be an option, but you'll be able to keep your gNOTE. So this is potentially people that were in the original stake airdrop. Sorry. So this was people that like stake Theta. I mean, there's a lot of people that didn't even realize that they've got gNOTE and it's sitting in their wallet. Well, seeing how gNOTE's going to be a new smart contract going forward, we need to transfer that over to them. You'll be able to track it all on the blockchain. You'll see that a wallet has the other one, and the same wallet ends up with the same airdrop equivalent. Now, let's say that you left the LP with extra T fuel and you have no IL, but you have gNOTE. Yes, we're not going to come and try and say, well, you took extra, so you don't get. No, you own the gNOTE, you get the gNOTE. You're just going to have to come on and put your wallet in there. We're not publicly broadcasting the API, so it's not like people are going to be able to make charts and lists and everything like that. Just come, connect your wallet so you can keep your gNOTE. Okay, and then if you opt out of IL, but you own gNOTE, you'll be able to keep that as well. Now, delays. We have contemplated this, and here's the thing, guys. If we just let the first one go and we opt everyone in and everyone's got their T fuel and stuff, there's tax implications with this. There might be some people that want to opt out of their IL later on. They didn't make it. They're been out of the country. They got to come in or whatever. And we need to make sure that everybody opts in for their IL. If you miss it, okay, if you miss this first one, you're not going to be able to pick gNOTE ever again. That's because this is the last time we're ever minting gNOTE. So, with that being said, if you opt in going forward, you'll only be able to select T fuel as an option. So, with that being said, every 2 weeks, a new option cycle opens. Meaning, this one's open for 2 weeks. It will close. The delayed will move over. Everybody that has picked what they want to do, they will start getting theirs issued. And then another 2 weeks will open for people to come in that potentially did not select opt in, opt out. They didn't make their selections. So every 2 weeks until we get every single wallet making their decision either to opt in, opt out. And obviously the people who have no IL but had gNOTE, if you don't come that day, we can't mint it back over into the new contract for you. Because once again, I don't mean to keep beating this in, but last time we're minting it. Okay, so we will be standing up a new gNOTE T fuel LP. There needs to be one so that we can facilitate all of the things that we're ready to launch and voting and so on and so forth. So what we're going to be doing is taking 1.108 million T fuel, matching it with 1 million gNOTE, and then burning that LP token. So we're standing up the LP and then burning ownership of our ownership over the token. So the LP will own itself. Now, there's going to be low liquidity at first. So while we're setting while the market set the price at 1.10 over the last 2 weeks, time weighted price, that might hold, that might not hold. We're not sitting here saying we're setting the floor, guys. We're not claiming that we're setting the floor. We're not claiming it's going to stay that price until the end of time. What we're saying is that we're making a liquidity pool for people. Now, if you're sitting there wanting gNOTE and there's not enough liquidity for you to buy, or some people get confused and they push down, there's a lot of different factors. I just need to make it legally clear. We are not trying to hold the price. The market will decide it, just like the market decided the 1.10. The market will decide when we match it with 1 million where gNOTE goes from there. All right. So this LP has no staking rewards, no IL offset, but it does have the 3% swap fees like normal. So there's been a lot of confusion over LPs in the community. If you don't understand LPs, don't get involved in the LP. You're going to see that if you want gNOTE and you want rewards, there's a path forward for you here. You don't have to go into this LP. I want to make sure everyone understands that this LP is just stood up as a traditional LP for liquidity so that people can still trade their gNOTE on day one. All right. So the Friday 50, how it is going forward is this. It's going the Friday 50, where Friday used to be T-bill, it's now going to be, while we're working on the T-bill contract, it's going to stand in for the Friday 50, and it's going to be gNOTE, bare gNOTE tokens will be the Friday 50, okay? And as you can see, week 17, because we've paused, and now week 17 will start back up, ironically, on the 17th. So 17, there you go. And it also happens to be St. Patrick's Day. So, all right. How does the reward structure and the Friday 50 look from going forward? This is going to be one of the changes that you're going to see going forward. Now, we had things ready to go, and gNOTE is going to have to stand in for some of the processes that we had ready to go that we needed T-bill for. That does not mean that there isn't a path forward for the T-bill to still come back in and take over some of the different elements that we have gNOTE taking the place of right now. But I want everyone to understand this was part of the time that we had to take with this path forward, because we had to remodel everything out. We had to make sure that we weren't going to delay launches of different things because of this whole pausing of T-bill, getting it squared away, and then the relaunch. So what ends up happening is you have your 50% proof of burn rewards. That's how it's always been. It goes to the time slots. 25% of it's going to be burnt now. And then the other 25% of it is going to go to proof of uptime for the Oracle reward. So it's proof of uptime reward, Oracle rewards. Proof of uptime, Oracle rewards. So we'll get into that later on as we progress. But just understand that the Friday 50 is going to be burning, giving out its normal proof of burn reward, and then building up the reward pool for the oracles. Okay. So, gNOTE supply. So the maximum total supply of gNOTE will be set on March 12th. Now, guys, that is because we got to wait to see what everybody's decisions are going to be. So, basically, what's going to need to happen is there's going to be some people that want gNOTE, some people that want T-Fuel, or maybe everyone wants gNOTE, or vice versa. Anyhow, how it all shakes out though is the amount of wallets that choose gNOTE for IL. 2 years of 10% proof of replication Oracle rewards. We'll get into that. Will also be minted, and it will be kept in the distribution wallet, its appropriate wallet. We'll get into that. The amount of gNOTE to match. So the 1 million gNOTE that needs to match the T-Fuel for the LP. So I know I've beat this in already. Last time that we're minting gNOTE ever. And let's just get this one. And then it turns into a deflationary token, basically. So we'll get into that a little bit later on here too. So here's the example. If we need 11 million gNOTE for IL, an additional 2.6 million gNOTE will be minted for the proof of replication, Oracle rewards, and then 1 million is needed to match the T-Fuel that GPooL will be burning into the LP. So that's a total of 14.6. This is just for examples moving forward. This could be quite a bit higher depending on how many people decide they want gNOTE versus T-Fuel, or lower. We will all know together. So, deflationary, what does that mean? It means supply decreasing, I know, but what does it mean for gNOTE? So basically, 25% of gNOTE gets burnt in the Friday 50. The remaining goes to the proof of burn and the proof of uptime reward. You'll see more of that in a sec here. Now, also, as people mint unstoppable NFTs, 5% of that gets burnt. The remaining 5% of it goes to the proof of uptime rewards. 90% goes to proceeds. So there's a 10% gNOTE gas fee, so to say, every time that you mint an unstoppable NFT. The same with a gNOTE NFT. How many unstoppable NFTs will there be, and all these other questions that will be in a future video. I'd like to say that I'll be able to get this out in the 2 weeks that you're making your decision. But if you want, go ahead and take a look at Ethereum and what they're doing with unstoppable domains and how many they've sold and so on and so forth. And then think we're doing that on Theta, which has the ability to be a distributed internet, not just sort of, you'll see if you go and you take a look at the ENS system. So now when you take a look at existing supply, right? So this is the burnt, and then this is existing supply. Now the proof of replication rewards, we'll go into that. Those are, it's a minimum of 10% for 2 years, and it's already minted and set aside. Now, proof of uptime rewards, that is all classified over, or it's all categorized over here, and here is what we have for the near-term releases. Friday 50, we already have a date on for you. The other two will have a date here shortly. Now, voting changes just a little bit now here too. So basically what you've got is, if you take a look at it, voting is no longer going to be weighted based on your gNOTE T-Bill LP tokens. Well, that's because it's paused for the time being. So instead, what you're going to do is you're going to lock gNOTE into the voting reserve pool, which then mints you the corresponding gNOTE value vote NFT. At any time, this NFT can simply be burnt and your gNOTE claimed back to your wallet. What is happening is you take your gNOTE, you lock it into the reserve and you mint your NFT, you'll be able to do such in different denominations. We'll go into merging and all of that in a later video. So same denominations as normal. So, all right, when you mint this NFT, there's mint days, and they'll start tracking. It's basically the amount of days since it's been minted. And yes, they'll be transferable. I skipped a. So, okay. So the longer that the gNOTE stays in the voting reserve pool in this NFT, the more voting weight you end up getting. So basically, you mint a 1,000 gNOTE vote NFT, and the longer that you hold it, the more voting weight is applied to it. And we'll go over all of that in a coming video. This is just so that everyone understands the changes that are happening moving forward, so that they can make an educated decision when they go and pick their IL. So we're just trying to make sure that everybody, understands as much as we can right now of what decision they are making. So, and yes, you can sell and trade, move these NFTs around. The voting rate is retained, and then whoever holds it at the end is able to then take, in this example, 1,000 gNOTE back out. So there was a lot of people that were concerned that, gNOTE was being bought for the voting and then, potentially sold back again. And we try not to get into all of that, but yes, basically what we're looking at is that this potentially can take some of that off, because people will potentially like to buy the voting NFT that already has the weight behind it. And this can help potentially, with the market. So, and this is also a good way for you to buy and sell gNOTE at a fixed price. So someone puts this NFT up for sale, they set a fixed price, you're buying all the gNOTE in it and the voting weight with it. So if there's a lack of liquidity in the LP at the beginning, this will probably be a good way for you to obtain enough gNOTE for an oracle. It also allows people to vote and not have to go into an LP, because we don't think that, people completely understand LP. We don't want to force them into it so that they can only vote if they go into this thing they're not completely understanding. So this vote NFT helps mitigate quite a few different things. The weight formula we'll go over in an upcoming video. It's not just as simple as the amount of days times the amount of gNOTE. I mean, that would just be absolutely bonkers. But anyways, you could look at it that way, just for ease of math going forward. All right. Well, our Oracle NFTs. Long awaited. I know a lot of people have been excited about running Oracle nodes for us. We have a path forward for you being able to do like a partial Oracle job. Well, it is an Oracle job, but you're not going to be running the full node. I'll explain it here. You're going to be doing work as an Oracle, and you're going to be rewarded as such. The Oracle code had a lot of stuff in there for T-bill that needs to be revamped. So we're just making sure that people can do some of the jobs going forward while we're doing the revamp. So to mint an Oracle NFT, it's going to take 0.1% of the total supply. So what does that exactly look like if we use the example that we've been using? So if the total supply is 14.6 million, it would take 14,600 gNOTE to mint an Oracle NFT on day one. Now, obviously, As more gNOTE is burnt from the supply, that 1% requirement will lower. So, if 2 million gNOTE is burnt over the year, the new total supply is 12.6. It will take 12,600 now gNOTE to mint your Oracle on that day. Now, every time that the gNOTE is burnt, so every time that gNOTE is burnt, this 0.1% requirement is updated for minting new ones. All right. So, yes, Oracle NFTs gain voting weight in a similar fashion as the vote NFTs. Where the more mint days, the greater your vote weight, and we'll go over that formula once again in an upcoming video. All right. Now, your 0.1 supply of gNOTE is locked forever in the Oracle reserve pool. Now, let me get through all of it and you'll see why, and so on and so forth. So unlike the vote NFT lock, which can be undone at any time. Now, however, as more gNOTE is burnt, that 0.1% requirement comes down to match, right? So that extra gNOTE is unlocked or rebalanced back to the wallet that holds that NFT at the time. So, yes, you can sell your Oracle NFT, the balance, the amount of the gNOTE that's still locked in there, and the vote weight transfers with it. So, let me explain it, maybe go over it one more time. When you go and you mint an Oracle NFT, that gNOTE that you put in there is locked forever. However, you only need 0.1%. So as more of the supply is burnt, you get released some of that gNOTE so that your Oracle matches all of the new ones that are coming online. And you can sell that NFT. So if you're sitting there saying, well, I've got 14,000 gNOTE in this Oracle NFT and I'd like to sell it, it's locked in there and it is coming out, rebalancing. You put it up for sale on the market. Someone else assumes that. They now get the rebalance or the trickle out, and they also get all of that voting weight transferred to them. So, an example, if 2 million gNOTE is burnt over the year, the total supply is now 12.6. That 0.1% take that. So now it takes 12,600 gNOTE to mint a new Oracle. I might have just reused the requirements update. So if you mint an Oracle on day, so if you minted an Oracle on day, I just sort of reworded the same one from the last, anyhow though, same principle. Now what it's saying though is if you minted an Oracle NFT on day one, you had to put 14,600 in there. Over the year, you would have had 2,000 gNOTE unlocked and rebalanced to you. So, gNOTE locked forever, helps with supply, helps with making sure that people are running their oracles, but as more's burnt, you get more released back out of that, or whoever you sell it to, or so on. All right. So proof of replication rewards for the time being will be done manually. And as you'll see, it's going to be done automatic as the Oracle nodes stand up. So for now, what you need to do, what we need is the Friday 50s history replicated. So we need it to be distributed. So we're asking people that are minting the Oracle NFTs, and they get rewarded to do such. What they'll do is every Friday, it's going to be very simplistic. The website's going to be easy to use. Click, click, click. Okay, claim your rewards. So basically what happens is that you're going to download the history. It's a small file. All it's got in it is what addresses have what time slots and what time slots claimed. So once the hash of the file is verified, you'll be able to claim your proof of replication rewards as well as any unlock balance. So any of the rebalancing from potentially burns that have gone on that week. So you'll get both of them on Thursday. This one, I couldn't figure out how to word it any better, but I think the example clears it up. No matter how many oracles claim the proof of replication reward at any given time, the base reward shared by all that do that day, all that claim on that Thursday, will be calculated like 50% of the eligible supply is in the Oracle NFTs and 10% is owed to that 50%. I know, wordy, but here, let's look at the example. I think you'll understand. Plus, I've got models and charts and stuff for you to look at, okay? So, say to pay 50% of the supply, the 10% APR, it would take 12,000 gNOTEs per week. Now, let's say that only 2 Oracle NFTs claim that proof of replication reward that week. They both get 6,000 gNOTE. Now, we are going to pay like 50% of the supply is in oracles, and we're doing such to encourage 50% of the supply to be in oracles. So, our thoughts and where we've seen things be successful in crypto before is reward like you would expect the outcome to be, and the outcome will match the reward. So, yes, you can have more than one oracle and claim the proof of replication rewards for each of the Oracle NFTs you hold in the wallet. Okay, so basically, let's say that you have 2 Oracle NFTs in the same wallet, and you happen to be those only 2 oracles that claimed it. You would end up with the 12 because each one gets 6. So for every Oracle NFT that you have, the proof of replication rewards will be there for you. So if you have multiple, you claim the multiple of the equal amount of proportion to how many claim. Here's a good visual of the Oracle lock and the rewards. And here, let's explain the gNOTE ecosystem. As you can tell see that that's just been added in here. So, LP burn. What that is that's the amount that GPooL is going to be matching and then burning into the IL. Now, you should think of it this way, is that as more people come in to get gNOTE from that LP, no one has ownership of it except for that burn address. So more T-Fuel will be added to that burn address, and in there that won't be able to be withdrawn, that will be strictly used for liquidity. So that's basically T-Build and need. Okay, now this one, at some point throughout this, there's some people that might be thinking of selecting gNOTE so that they can run an Oracle. They want to get the vote NFTs, and they understand the liquidity is going to be low, so they want their IL to be used for gNOTE so that they can obtain it at the last known 2-week averaged value and so on and so forth. So what happens if everybody decides that instead of withdrawing any T-Fuel and instead of getting T-Fuel as IL, everybody wants gNOTE? What's going to end up happening then is there's going to be a heck of a lot of T-Fuel left in the LP. However, all that T fuel is going to be put into the burn. So if every single person decides to leave all of their T fuel in the LP, collect that as IL so they get more gNOTE, we're going to take all of that T fuel and match it and burn it into the LP, making the LP more robust and a deeper liquidity pool. Oracle NFT lock reserve, we just went over that. That is the reserve. It's there for as the rebalancing happens, it comes out of that reserve. And then the proof of replication reward pool, as we were, going over, 10% APR for 2 years or longer. Now, 10% for 2 years or longer, you'll see how potentially it could go past the 2-year mark, even though we're minting it for 2 years. Now, this up here is the Vote NFT lock. That's there for as people want to burn their Vote NFTs. This is going to fluctuate. It's going to go up and down as people move in and out. But obviously, people are encouraged to keep it in there longer. People are encouraged to buy the NFTs if they're for sale. I'm not encouraging you to. I'm just saying that there's a reason for this, and we have encouraged people to hold it longer so that they have higher weight for voting. None of this is financial advice, guys. People come to me, they ask, hey, what should I do, this and that, the other thing. I can't give advice on it. I can try and show you all of the metrics that are involved, and you make the call based on the metrics. I can't tell you every single granular thing that we're working on, but I put this together so that you guys aren't blindsided when you're making your decision, because Oracle NFTs and Vote NFTs are coming that week that the initial basically the IL coverage is issued, but the LP has stood up. So this is coming in a couple weeks. All right. Proof of uptime reward pool. That's right here. The elements in the near term, there's always going to be more that are going to add to that, is 25% of the Friday 50, 5% of the Unstoppable NFTs, 5% of the G-Twin NFT minting. There's going to be more that come, as we release new elements of GWorld ecosystem with GOPS and all that kind of stuff. So now these rewards will start being issued once the community is running the Oracle nodes. Proof of uptime, your Oracle needs to be up. So yes, you will need to have your Oracle NFT to run an Oracle node. We don't have a designated time of releasing Oracle nodes. We will keep you posted. Now, the uptime rewards, the proof of uptime rewards will merge with the proof of replication rewards once replication is just one of the jobs handled by the Oracle node. So I hope everyone understands that right now they might look separate while it's being handled manually, but these rewards will be issued to oracles. And yes, this is for 2 years or a little bit longer, but where this one starts dwindling, this one will start picking back up. All right. We understand a lot of people were asking about our models and so on and so forth. So we're getting this model ready so it can be publicly available for everyone, so everyone can mess with all the numbers and see how things all change. These are just quick little examples just to show how they look. We're still drilling down on the sheet. You can do a good amount in a spreadsheet, but it takes a little bit of tweaking to get every single scenario, because sometimes a field uses the same number that it needs to generate, and anyhow. All right. So with less than 100% of the supply, so that supply number is right here. So with less than 100% of the supply in oracles, the proof of replication rewards last greater than 2 years. In this step increase, so 1 oracle, then 2, then 4, then 5, this is representing months. In this example, it lasts over 3 years, so it goes all the way down. And the reason of that is because it's not 100% of the supply in all the oracles to do the 10%. Now, we're GPooL is never about hyping numbers that are unrealistic, but I'm just showing you what the math looks like. Okay, you can see that an APR is as high as 4,000%. That is with only 1 oracle. However, that is not likely to last. As more join, that will drop. Once over 50%, all the way to 100%, the APR, sorry, I should break this. It's not 100% APR. The APR remains constant in 10%. Now, proof of uptime rewards has no such limits. I just wanted to show 1 oracle, what it would look like, and then you can see by the time you get over 50% here, everything shifts to 10%. So, like I said, we're going to pay like there's 50% on up until there is 50%, and then it's 10% all the way down. Now, what does it look like if there's 100% of the supply in oracles? It lasts exactly 2 years, okay? And everybody gets 10% APR. So, 819 oracles. I understand that, there's 2,000 people in the LP right now, and 800 oracles max doesn't sound like a high number. But guys, here's the thing. That means 100% of the supply is locked in oracles. And what's happening is that rewards are trickling out, and that's a supply. I couldn't imagine what the price of gNOTE would be if 100% of the supply is locked forever and all that's coming out is a little bit of rewards. So I think people need to understand that, yeah, you're going to, if you pick IL with gNOTE, you're going to be able to potentially have enough gNOTE to stand up an oracle. But, if you don't, and people come later and they're going to have to acquire the gNOTE, it all depends on how much is out there and how much that moves the price up. So would it be great to see everyone take gNOTE and everyone locks up in oracles and everyone's ready and to run oracles and nodes and everything like that? Sure. I don't know. I just showed this so that you could see that 100%, if that were the case, would last only the 2 years. Mind you, this is just a runway to get proof of uptime rewards generating from all of the burning of Unstoppables, gNOTE, all the NFTs that GWorld's going to be producing. I cannot wait to have this IL set to the side and get, this stuff that's been ready to released. My goodness, it's so exciting. So now here's looking at what it would look like if just 75 oracles were online for over a year here. This is their APR, and it does move up because 75 represents a smaller portion of 50%. So basically what's happening is right here, this is the reward we're paying that's a 50% to encourage 50% of the supply to go into oracles. And down here, why the APR is higher is because that 50% is higher because the rewards have been issued and the supply has gone up. So I'm not trying to get too complicated. I just wanted to show people what that would look like if there was a constant amount and the APR. Now, this one shows what it looks like if there is the burn happening. All the rest of the slides, we're not showing the burn, and if, you know, this is just the Friday 50. We don't have it simulated with, you know, the unstoppable purchases of NFTs and everything like that. This is just the burn on the Friday 50. What we've plugged in is, so we've plugged in $20,000 a month participation in the Friday 50. Now, this doesn't adjust for the price difference in gNOTE. It's a static price, so that's why it burns the same amount, or the same amount is put into the Friday 50 for every month. This is done to show what that 1% looks like. So originally, that oracle started out where 0.1% needed 14,643. As more was burnt, that comes down, and this would be all of the rebalances as they're happening. So basically, almost 2,000 gNOTE released back out as this is burned. Now, this number could go up, go down. I'm assuming that as we have bigger events with the Unstoppables and the gNOTEs, that you're going to get, you know, big spikes and then maybe a lull in burning, but what have you. This just simulates it so that you can see what that looks like. Now, as I was saying, the proof of uptime has no such limit. So, as you can see, the proof of uptime reward supply is now 1.8 million. Now, this does not show it being sent out in rewards. This is just the accumulation so you can visualize it. This will be sent out as we are issuing rewards weekly, like the proof of uptime or the proof of replication rewards. So it's not going to be locked in here forever, but this is definitely a good way to see how it can grow, and how when you merge the proof of replication with the proof of uptime, how the rewards can perpetuate and keep, you know, satisfying. Now, this is 100 or 500 oracles online. They're getting their 10%. Once again, this 10% APR is not including the proof of uptime rewards as it would be. They're just sitting there accumulating just so that math can be seen. Okay, so let's go back to the Friday 50 and how oracles are incentivized to participate. So 25% of the Friday 50 is burnt. This lowers the supply and increases the amount oracles get in rebalances. So oracles are encouraged to participate in the Friday 50 because more of their gNOTE will be released in rebalances because more of it's being burnt. Also, 25% is given into the proof of uptime reward pool. So as more participation in the Friday 50 goes, and obviously it's, you know, the NFT minting and such, but as participation in the Friday 50 goes, this reward pool goes, and they're now able to get to those rewards once the nodes are up and going. And as always, the proof of burn rewards. You have a chance to claim a time slot. So someone running an oracle participates in the Friday 50. They benefit from the burn, from more gNOTE getting released out of their 1% or their 0.1%. They benefit by helping strengthen the reward pool that they will be issued. And then they also have a chance at a time slot. So I just show this because I don't know that some of this stuff is so obvious to everybody, but we wanted to make sure that everything was synergistic. And, you know, the Friday 50, there's a lot of synergy with T-bill that we're not able to get to right now because of pausing and such, but everything had a purpose and everything had synergy with its counterparts. Anyhow, all right. NFT minting with Gdrops. Now, Gdrop, I don't want it to get confused with T-drop. It's not a token, okay? This is a unit of measure. So, there's going to be some people that either A, don't want to hold on to their T-bill NFTs, waiting for the other LP to stand up, or this isn't just T-bill NFTs. If you buy a gNOTE NFT, or I'm sorry, a GTwin NFT, and you want an unstoppable or anything else in all of the GWorld ecosystem, we're going to have a mechanism for you to inter-exchange between. Now, this is only for minting. This is not the secondary market, because this unit of measurement is just a fictitious unit of measurement. It's not a token. It's not something someone can say, oh, I'm going to sell my NFT up there for Gdrops. No, it's a unit of measure. I mean, no one would want to do that, because this is us just absorbing this because we're minting these. So now this math is very raw. We're still working out the models. I'm just showing an example. This is not set in stone. I don't want everyone to hold this as this will be definitive, for good reasons, because it needs to be fleshed out still. So, example. So, the gold Wounded Warrior, we've seen it go for 55,000 T-fuel and a low of 4,000 T-fuel. Now, let's say that the algorithm that we finalize, that we go with, says after time-weighted analysis of the market, the Gdrop units assigned is, let's say, 1,000 Gdrops. So let's say that, yes, okay, this is selling for 4,000 T-fuel right now, but we assign a value of 1,000 Gdrops. What that could look like is, let's say to mint this gNOTE wardrobe, it's going to cost 3,000 T-fuel, or let's say 100 Gdrops. What you'd be able to do is take this NFT, burn it, mint 10 of these NFTs using your 1,000 Gdrop value. Now, let's do this math, because I want to make sure that everyone understands how favorable this will be. I am not saying that this is set in stone, but this NFT went from anywhere from 55,000 T-fuel to 4,000 T-fuel in price. We've assigned it a 1,000 Gdrop value. You are able to come over and mint 10 of these, which is the equivalent of 30,000 T-fuel. And we want to make sure that there's an interchanging rate during time of minting, not secondary market. So, more on this in the future. We're working on all of the math and the modeling and everything like that of transfers and how the Gdrop rate will go. We've got to make sure that it's not gamed, so that people don't collude and push the price of a certain NFT up and then come over and just mint a bunch of other NFTs. So I know there's going to be when this, when that, but just realize we're working on it. It's favorable to everybody, but we got to get it right, so it can't be taken advantage of. All right. Theta's been making some headlines with AI. We're excited. GPooL, we've been getting ready for it. We've been doing a lot of purchasing of GPUs. We've got over 1,000 GPUs now. I want people to remember from way back, the commissions go up as GPooL offers GPUs. So I know that IL comes out of commissions, and at this point we do not plan on raising any commissions. It's all has been planned. So all the commissions are going to stay the same, and they're going to go as they were planned. So it's going to be exciting to finally get some of these emeralds and sapphires. Now, diamonds are going to be a higher end GPU, and that will come. But guys, we need to start getting revenue flowing in to GPooL with jobs and stuff. We're so excited to see, that jobs are finally starting to come maybe about here for edge nodes. Because these running these edge nodes, they're expensive. On top of that, we need jobs, and it needs to justify all the GPUs that we've obtained, which I wholeheartedly expect and can't wait. I just put this little fun fact in here. ChatGPT costs about $100,000 per day. That's about 2 million T-fuel per day to operate ChatGPT. The future that we're heading to is so darn exciting. With the ability of Theta to host AI and us to do the jobs, us as meaning the community, to do the jobs, and all of the exciting things that we've all been looking forward to for Theta seems to finally all be coming, to release here. So it's very exciting. I just wanted to make this, a reminder, a quick little update. Obviously, there's going to be more videos on this, and articles and such. So if you made it this far, congratulations. It was a lot. I just wanted to make sure I touched on some of the details of some of the stuff so that people knew how to choose going forward. All right. I look forward to making this next video so that you guys can get even more details about what we got going on back here.